So I don't know if this is technically episode 2 or take 2 or whatever you want to call it, but last time we had some issues. This time we rectify them. And with that, I'd just like to make it simple, and apparently I can't talk right now. With me is Jenna Belk. Jenna, thank you so much for coming on again.
Hi!
As always, very exciting to have you here. And also joining us is Robyn and Ciaran.
Hey!
Robyn, thank you again for agreeing to do this. It's obviously, I had several friends that reached out to me that were like, why is she doing this again? And I was like, look, I reached out to her. I apologize for one. I didn't like the way it went, and I want to do my best to give everyone as fair chance as possible. And, you know, I should have set ground rules of how I wanted the conversations to go, but we are all here for one purpose, to have a friendly conversation. And what's going to happen is Ciaran will be doing a reading on Jenna, and then we'll be talking about it afterwards. So, Robyn, thanks for giving this another go.
Yeah, thank you for having me back, bringing Jenna on, bringing Ciaran with. It's going to be a great talk.
I agree. Yeah. And Jenna, seriously, thank you for doing this. Where can everybody see you?
I'm on the Atheist Experience, and I'm actually I'm on a rotating schedule, but I will be on this Sunday with Anthony Magna Bosco, who does the Straight Epistemology channel. I'm really excited about that. And I also have a channel that I started on my own. It's called the Jenna Belk channel, but under that I have a show called Atheist Stasis in hopes of having more conversations like this, more friendly stuff. So
right, because it's enjoyable when you do this. And to me, that's, you know, we can reach so many people by just having a conversation, you know, showing that while we don't share the same views, we can still talk about it.
That's the goal. And it's hard to talk about because so many people aren't willing. No, so exactly. Anybody that's willing, I'm like, dude, thank you. Like,
yes. Yeah. And the important thing I just want to point out here, so everyone knows from the get-go, Robyn or Ciaran, they're not trying to prove that, you know, they're right or trying to prove, you know, change our minds. We are just here to present the information and talk about it, and then you can do with it as you please. As everyone knows, myself and Jenna are on the side of unconvinced. Ciaran and Robyn, they are here to present you their side. It's the best way to put it. All right, Ciaran, so tell us about this reading.
Well, I don't know what to tell you about it yet. We haven't read anything. Jenna, do you have anything particular you want to know? Like,
well, what is it? Is it cards or is it?
Yeah. So, usually I use tarot cards. Like sometimes I'll use other stuff, but that's what I have today is tarot cards.
Perfect.
And everybody does readings differently. You know, everybody's belief in all of this is very different. Like Robyn and I believe a lot of the same things, but we also don't believe a lot of the same things. Like,
right.
Which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But so I like specific questions so that I can give you specific answers. I don't usually do general readings, and I don't ever do legal or medical readings. So if you have a question outside of those topics, then
no.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can just pull cards for you, but I don't know, you know, what I can tell you from that.
What do you want me to talk about?
Well, I don't necessarily want you to talk about anything. I just want to know, you know, the last time I came on, I had Ethan, Ethan asked the ladies to have questions ready because I do prefer to work with specific questions.
Sorry, I probably should have specified that. And that is completely my bad.
Sorry, I can come up with questions. What just let me know what kind of questions are you looking for?
Anything open-ended. I mean, if you've got a yes or no question, I can do that, but it's not going to be real impressive when I say yes or no.
About, like, what are we talking about?
Anything you want to know, your career, love life.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, I don't know. I'm curious if...
By the way, I'm going to coin the term sunshine atheism. Puck came up with it, and I love that. I'm going to get that on a shirt.
Oh, that's cute. I like that. Something small or something like monumental?
I mean, probably small and personal, but if you want to ask something monumental, you can. Like,
If I
you know.
can say, just if I was on the atheist side of things, I would say go for just a very general topic so that no one's going to be like, you've led her to already know a piece of this information kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
No,
No,
this is
I'm sorry.
100% on me. So I am sorry once again.
Do you want to like read my mind kind of thing, or
I don't do that. That's one of those.
tell the
I don't
future kind of
believe in mind
thing?
reading. Huh?
Tell the future?
So
kinda
like if
thing?
you ask a career related question, she'll be able to, I don't want to butcher this. You'll channel the cards and then you'll provide the path. Is that, am I wording that correctly?
Basically, normally, like in my business, like I focus on guidance-based readings. So I can do predictive readings. That's what a lot of people want. But, you know, these kinds of tools tend to work better, I believe, when you're trying to get from point A to point B versus just finding out what point B is. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
Financial stability. That is always a fun one.
Well, it's just like I don't know how to ask something that isn't about like the future though. Like, you know.
Well, you can ask something about the future.
Okay. Am I going to be able to stop living paycheck to paycheck anytime soon?
Let's take a look.
Speaking of which, if you haven't checked it out, go check out Jenna's Patreon. Oh, come on. I left you the perfect opening.
Oh, yes. www.patreon.com/Jenna Belk. It's pretty easy to remember.
Transition statement.
There we go.
Thank you.
Well, I definitely recommend it. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. So I'm going to pull 3 cards for you to start with, and we'll look at the shadow card as well. That's the card on the bottom of the deck. I don't know if you ever used that or not when you were reading. Okay, so the cards that I pulled, and I'll hold them up individually as well, but I pulled the 5 of Cups, the Sun, and the Hanged Man. I don't know how clear that is for you guys.
You had to draw a hangman.
It looked like a trimmed bush. What was the first one?
The 5 of Cups.
5 of. Oh, that looks cool. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, he's kind of tangled up in vines or snakes or something.
Okay.
Okay, so based on this, yes, you can stop living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I'm going to go straight to kind of the conclusion card here because the Hanged Man is...
Doesn't look very hopeful.
No, it's not hopeful at all.
It's not that it's not hopeful. Like, if you wanted to get into the symbolism of the card, like, this card system was invented by Christians essentially, and so it's Christian mysticism, and the Hanged Man represents Jesus. So it's not that it's not a hopeful card, but it's a card of sacrifice and, you know, kind of like weighing your priorities. And this can cut in multiple directions, like with that particular card. And we'll talk about the other ones in a second, but it's like, how are you being accountable to those financial goals? Like, how are you holding yourself accountable to them? If you want to stop living paycheck to paycheck, like, are you keeping yourself in the role of kind of the martyr on that? Or are you not willing to sacrifice what you would need to sacrifice in order to get to the point that you need to be? So that's kind of where the Hanged Man is taking me. The other cards, the 5 of Cups and the Sun. The 5 of Cups is a card about focusing and prioritizing the wrong things in life, especially emotional things, because the Cups cards deal with emotions. So, and the Sun is all about your happiness, but too much of a good thing is a bad thing oftentimes. So based on this, I would say good chunk of this is kind of weighing your priorities. You know, if you want to stop living paycheck to paycheck, something's going to have to give somewhere. You're going to have to make a shift and a change in your perspective, which again is the Hanged Man. He's looking at the world turned upside down. So he's seeing things in a completely different way than we are. My advice based on this would be to try to step back from the situation and see where and if there are any shifts that you can make to really prioritize your financial stability and, you know, security moving forward. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then the shadow card, just in case, it's the card that's on the bottom of the deck. It's like the energy that's not being expressed. Yeah. And so this guy's the King of Pentacles. He's the king of money. Like in the deck, he's made out of bread, but that's because bread used to be associated with wealth. So yeah, I would think based on that, you're empowered to do what you need to do, you know, to make the changes and the sacrifices and decisions you need to make. So you've just got to find a way to express it.
Okay.
What would happen, like, if you, this is just my brain worrying, but what would happen if you drew the cards again and, like, would we get a different answer, or would we get, like, how does that work?
That's a good question.
You would probably get a different answer. One of the things that we talk about a lot, like ethically as readers, because I'm in a lot of groups with other readers, and I run a group that's just professional readers. And a lot of what we talk about is shopping for psychics or shopping for answers. Okay. And it's bad practices, you know, for us to indulge in people doing that. But also, yes, you will get differing cards and you will get differing answers. But at the same time, you might be getting different pieces to the puzzle. And so it kind of becomes a conundrum, you know, like for the person that's asking the questions. Too much information can be a bad thing. Does that make sense?
When I read, there's times where I feel drawn to pull additional cards, and generally speaking, they support the ones that come up instead of just being random different stuff. If you would like, I will put myself on the spot and I can grab my cards and just pull, I feel like two. So I'll pull like 2 cards and just see if it supports what you said.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, let me grab them.
Well, thank you, Robyn. I got to give you props for this one, Robyn. I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Robyn. And hi, Dean. Thank you. I love you.
But see, Jenna's being so sweet, though. It makes you feel comfortable reading for somebody when they come in with like a very, you know, open demeanor.
Mind. Right. I like to think I'm open, but I am very inquisitive. That, like, I can't turn off the questioning nature of my brain. It's very hard. Although I have to give that question credit to Kristen, and I have to give a personal shout out to Kristen, because she's a workhorse. She's always like, hey, she got me on the Daily Atheist today. Like, he reached out to me and I'm like, thanks, Kristen. This is so cool.
And so, I hear you're going to be a regular on that show now.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
Do you know, it's funny. I agreed to it before I even told my boss. And he's like, can you check with your boss? I'm like, I will make this work. And I right when I got off the show, I called my boss. I'm like, look, every Thursday I have this opportunity. It's going to be for 2 hours. I really need to do this. And he was like, as long as it doesn't interfere with your work, you're good. So it's cool that my boss knows I'm an atheist. Like that, I'm like, I'm really happy about. So,
yeah. All right, what you got?
So it's more, it's actually getting into the details of some of the things that are keeping you from the money. Anyways, the first card that I pulled out represents, okay, so the cards that I use right now are anyways, they're called the Patch Tarot deck, and it's a mixture of like everything from every deck. So it has like a descriptive word, it's got the sign associated with it, the element, all this kind of stuff. So this specific one is talking about envy. So one thing that we can talk about today is when it comes to like the energy, like we were talking about. So the term that I want to use that we can talk about is the power of attraction, the laws of attraction. So the idea behind that, I'll explain, and then I'll go to the card.
Okay.
The idea behind the laws of attraction is that the energies in which you create, whether through thought or action, is what you end up bringing to you. So vibration of love and joy is up here, and then there's different vibrations down here that if you're feeling that, it ends up drawing that kind of energy towards you more. This card is envy. So it's more talking about, is the mindset that you're in a mindset of lack and of, I want these things and I don't have them? Because if that's the mindset, that's the vibration that you're on, and you continue on that, I don't have them, I want this and don't have it kind of mindset. So the card is to support the idea of, instead of being frustrated with money and feeling like you don't have what you need, you focus more on the gratitude for what you do have, and live in this mental space of everything is financially supporting me right now, and then you'll bring that vibration towards you more. And then the other, actually, it's funny because usually I would draw this card and think something negative about it, but it's actually really positive. So the card is manipulative, but what I think it's saying is that it's upside down. It's basically saying that you're not willing to make certain sacrifices that are worth more than this money. So what I'm seeing is just setting your eye on what the goal is, but not forgetting what's really, really important, which is feeling that joy and that sense of abundance, even if you don't specifically have it in the financial sense. And I'll just show you the cards. They're upside down, but I'm going to show you right side up. So this is the first one.
Oh, they're cute. I like looking at the cards.
I know, these ones are so adorable. And then this is the other one.
Ooh.
Right?
Hey, that's like my logo.
Is it really?
I have flying kite birds.
See, it's you. You're
That's cool.
flying, right? So yeah, that's what I got.
Cool. Okay. So am I gonna like compare now how my life is compared to the reading now? Is that okay?
Whatever you want to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the thing is that I have been working really, 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 really hard at every single aspect of my life for like a year and a half now. Like I value time so much more that I do everything I can not to waste any of it, which is why I do all this now. So that's why it was really hard for me to kind of come up with something, is because I'm trucking along, you know, I'm happy and I'm doing good. And so it's interesting because I mean, everyone I feel like struggles financially. So the word that comes to mind is Barnum. And I'm not trying to like be mean or anything, but it just seems like that could apply to everybody. You know what I mean?
What do you mean, Barnum?
Barnum statement, like
it's
Oh,
referring to like I guess like would the generic be the correct word? Like
yeah,
it's not really a directed answer.
Yeah.
right. Like it didn't apply to me specifically, like, but it could apply to everybody. Like everyone struggles with money, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like because I brought that up, maybe that seemed like it might have been the first thing on my mind. Maybe. I don't know.
There's definitely different types of readings, and like what a lot of people want is like, what date am I gonna meet the man of my dreams?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and there are certain things that like time frames will come up. Ciara and I both probably read somewhat similarly, where it does end up being, sometimes it's specific details, but other times it's like you're in someone else's emotional space when you're reading for them. And so you're basically an advice giver at that point. And if you're giving advice to one person, it's going to be advice that's applicable for pretty much everybody.
Totally.
So I totally see what you're saying. That's why it's really great to have readings when you can that are like really specific, like you're going to be pregnant in 8 months, or you're going to meet someone named Tom in 9 months and you're going to get married or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Well, I hope she doesn't meet someone named Tom in 9 months.
Yeah, but I also was going to say that you brought it up. That was really good advice. Like that sounds like something that I would say to a friend, you know,
Right.
it's just, right.
Well, and I think that's something we didn't get to talk about, like on my episode. Like a lot of people that aren't in the psychic or tarot or whatever community assume that we do these fortune cookie kind of readings for people, not just in the sense that it's generic, but in the sense that like this is absolutely going to happen. You know, you're going to meet your twin flame soulmate, Bubba, down the street at the 7-Eleven, 3 weeks and 7 hours from now. Like most readers that I know focus on guidance rather than like predictive readings at this point. There was a shift in the late 80s with that, as far as tarot reading at least, and I think the rest of the spiritual community has kind of like shifted to catch up. But yeah, most of us are not out here doing predictive readings anymore. And there's a lot of those predictive topics like medical, legal, pregnancy, things like that, that most of us won't touch anymore. So that cuts out a lot of what people that aren't in this or non-believers think of as being skeevy and predatory. And does that make sense?
Yes. So the thing is that like, if we get time, hopefully I'll be able to do my fairy card reading. But the thing is that when I'm going to be doing it, I'm doing what I used to do, which is just kind of like feel it and just kind of literally just whatever I just feel.
Yep.
You know, when I feel ready to put my finger down, it's that card.
Yeah.
And then I read it and I just interpret it and I just kind of go with what feels right, you know? So that's actually what I'll be doing. So, but the thing is that at the same time, I understand a lot more that I've studied about like how the brain works in psychology and like science. And so to me now looking at it, I'm like, I just feel like I'm playing a game. So I'm not trying to like discredit you or anything, but it just trying to put it into perspective, like how I used to look at it and how I see it now. You know what I mean?
It's a constant battle. Honestly, one reason that before I started reading on our last show that I kind of preempted it with, you know, it's been a while since I've done this. And like for me, I always question it because I'm really similar to both you guys in the sense that I want what's honest and real and true. And it's such a conflict when you've read for people before and you are that accurate. You give incredible detailed timelines and like things that are not just general. And then you're also constantly like, am I being crazy? Is this information that I'm getting from the ether or am I making this up in my own mind? So it's hard as a reader when you're like constantly balancing, am I doing the right thing here or am I making this up? So the struggle is real for you and for readers too.
Yeah.
So how do we, for example, if you do a few readings, how do we know which one you're getting a message from or like a legit supernatural message versus it's just your own mind deciding what's best in that moment?
That's the struggle is you're supposed to always like listen and trust that what is coming is not from you. But in being someone who wants to be real and not like fake in any way, shape, or form, you always question it.
Right.
So it's always a question.
I'm really fascinated. I've always been fascinated by like dreams. I've always had dreams that I thought I could tell the future. Like I could interpret my dreams and I could tell the future. And I was so convinced. And I have I think a Freud book somewhere about dreams. And anyway, that's where I kind of got started studying about the brain and how it works. And what I've learned is that there's kind of a subconscious, right? Where I guess people can interpret as a soul or something like that, right? Where it's, you know, if you think about it, the majority of the things that you do are not controlled by your conscious mind. They're subconscious, like your heart beating, your breathing, you're healing a wound, you know, all of these things are happening without you consciously making them happen. They're all subconscious. So when you think about how intelligent your subconscious has to be doing all of these things all of the time and guiding me, you know, that whole like, well, what feels right? That's your subconscious, right? And so I think about how a habit forms. You do things over and over again, and you just do them over in 3 months, I think is 6 weeks or 3 months or something like that is how long they say it takes to build a habit.
Mhm.
So when you think about doing things like this over and over and over again, I can see how it can come more naturally, more easily, you know, it's because you're actually rewiring your brain to do it more and to do it more efficiently and better. And it feels more right. So it's just interesting, from my perspective, I guess.
So,
You know, what's interesting is that the times that I felt the least confident is when I gave the most specific, detailed readings, which is weird.
Hey, Robyn, there was, I don't know if this is something you can share publicly or not necessarily right now, but you did have some proof of some of your readings, correct?
Yeah, I have an email, and then I also have, just from really recently, someone that I spoke with that wanted a reading, and I gave it to him, and then what I said in the time frame that I said did occur, and just messaged me a couple weeks ago about it.
Wow.
Awesome. Would you be comfortable sharing those with me again? And like, or can you blank those out so that at a later time I can provide it to a few of the audience members? And I'll obviously you don't have to send it now.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So Kristen, I will get you those. She has screenshots with date, time, and stamps. I'll get you that information, and then you can judge for yourself.
Yeah.
Jenna, did you want to go ahead and do a reading, and then we could
let me do mine.
And a read for me.
Okay. I don't know. So I'm going back in my old brain set right now.
Yeah.
And I would say, I don't know if I could do it very efficiently through a computer.
And that's one of the things that you'll think about whether you've done it 100 times or 2 times.
Right. Okay. I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know if I can feel your energy. You're so far away.
I feel your energy, so maybe you can.
Yay! That's promising. Okay.
Hey, Jenna, have you ever karaoke before?
All the time.
Really?
I love karaoke.
So do I.
Yay!
We're going to do a karaoke podcast.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I have to be sometimes I get really shy. I've only done it drunk, so we'll have to try.
I'm good at bringing out the best in people when it comes to karaoke. So I'll be able to motivate you into it. As long as it might
be easier if I'm in my room.
That's true.
Okay. So.
If you have any questions for any of us, feel free to put that in the comments.
Okay. All right. Oh no, I can't show them all here. Okay. And I would hover my hand. Okay.
Is that the Brian Fraud Fairy Oracle deck?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay.
It's so pretty. I love the illustrations.
I love Brian Proud.
I love that you're really putting your effort into it instead of being like, I'm going to pull you a card. No, you're doing it. And this is cool. And I appreciate you taking the time. Yeah. It's great.
Thank you. I mean, I'm telling you, I for real did this. Okay, 3 cards. First one, the Piper.
New journeys.
All right, so I gotta look it up.
Ooh. Hey, Robyn or Ciara, is the reading more accurate if the subject chooses the cards?
Yes.
I disagree.
I would have said yes.
No. Well, I can't speak for anybody else, but I don't think so necessarily. And I don't let people touch my cards because people have nasty hands.
Oh, wow.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Not because of any weird superstition, just because people are gross.
No, inquisitive quandary. I will fight you for Kristen. No way. I'm not giving her. I'm not.
Oh no, she's mine.
No, no.
Oh, she's already been mine.
Come on.
All right. So for the Piper, it says music, order, harmony, seduction, empathy. And there's a long thing that, man, I'd have to read this. We don't have time for that. We'll get back to that. But I'm going to take the subtitles from each one and kind of go with it. Okay. Second card is the Sage.
Okay. Pretty great.
That's pretty. I love these. Okay. That is wisdom, hidden knowledge, retreat, old age, patience. I would say you're an old soul. You like a lot of things that people don't normally like, crochet or
50s music.
Solitaire. Yeah.
20s music.
Okay. And then we've got
What?
The undressing of a salad. And that one says balance, avoiding extremes, achieving the impossible, being impossible, being skeptical, being in touch with yourself and in your emotions, right?
I love it.
And what was the first one again? Empathy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we already know you're an empathetic ass person. So.
Yeah.
Okay, and then a bonus card.
I should have brought my card so I could do a magic trick.
You should have.
Ooh. He of the fiery sword. This is actually really beautiful.
Ooh,
that is.
Beautiful.
And that's number 4. Active principle, spiritual will, justice, protection. You're very protective of your friends, and you're and very insightful. You give really good advice when they ask for it.
Or when they don't.
And when they don't.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
like
my reading.
I like that. And of course, I'm going to apply it to what I want to, because that's how you do readings, is you think about something, if it relates to it, then that's what it's meant for. And that supports some of my current and future things. Like third card kind of lined up with my future goals in a way. So thank you.
Cool. Yay.
So how does I know you said you don't like when people shop psychics, but how does a person like me determine which reading is either the most accurate or credible?
I don't think you can make that. I mean, I guess you can make that kind of determination eventually, but I think it would be really difficult to do that, just because, everybody's got a different style. You're going to have a different interpersonal connection with each reader that you talk to. There are other things that influence your experience of the reading and also the information that comes across. Like there's sometimes when I get readings where things absolutely make no sense. And if I don't write them down, I will just totally block them out of my mind, because I get readings all the time. I have tons of friends that do this. But because I write them down and kind of forget about them because they sounded like crap, I can go back and see, oh, actually, no, that did end up happening, or that was really important information. I wish I had paid attention at the time. I think like if you as a person, Ethan, are curious about going and finding yourself a psychic, for instance, to read for you, then you're just going to have to go out there and start getting readings. Just don't ask the same question of every single person. Ask different questions and then assess after a month.
So am I right in saying that you really have to be in touch with your feelings? Like you have to go with what feels right. Like that's just how it is, right?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, and this is why I have become an activist against stuff like this, and not against y'all personally, but just this stuff. I think it's fun, and I think it's like you do it for fun. But there's a problem: is that some people truly believe everything you say, and it can confirm their worst fears or their biggest dreams, and it can be wrong.
Right.
And so that can really hurt people. And the thing is that a lot of people make decisions based off of what, like, kind of that feeling, whatever feels right. And I used to do that too. And I found out that's actually a really bad way to make decisions if you care about logic at all.
If I can jump in,
yes.
I totally hear what you're saying, and I think that is very accurate, where some people are very on and connected and very, very good at what they connect to. And if you know that those people are there and that you can trust them, and then you go out and find someone, you might not be able to trust them, and they're going to tell you things and you're going to take it to heart, and they might not be accurate. And so my answer to your question, Ethan, is the only way that I would say that you can know if somebody is a faker or if they are really connected to things is if you take time meditating and hearing your own intuition, which is what reading is all about, is listening to what's coming down from above. If you can put yourself in a state where you are able to hear the different things that come in and out of your mind, which might make you notice where your intuition leads you in daily life, then you'd be at a point where you can walk up to someone and maybe even just by looking at them, you can sense their vibe, or even looking at their shop, sense the vibe and be like, this does or doesn't feel right. But it takes a lot of knowing yourself to get to a point that you can do that. So for the layman, the only way you can really know is by experiencing it, like Ciara said. And that's kind of the hard shit with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's fakers everywhere.
My advice for people would be, like, if you're shopping or looking for or whatever, you want to experience a reading and you want to get somebody who at least isn't intentionally taking advantage of people or, you know, scamming people or whatever, ask about their code of ethics, ask about their policies. You know, there's people like Robyn that do it just as part of their personal practice, and those people aren't hurting anybody, you know, like.
Greed is no part of it. When you take greed and money out of it, then you're going to definitely find more honest people.
Right. So you can get free readings from, you know, people like Robyn, free stuff like that. But if you're going to a professional like me, ask to see their code of ethics, ask to see their policies, because a lot of the things that you brought up, Jenna, like people that are not in a good space mentally, things like that, those are things that I'm very aware of. I was in school for psychology for a while. I had to quit because money, but I took a lot of what I learned about those ethics and applied it to my business practices now. And so that does mean I turn away a lot of people, you know, like I lose money because I have certain lines that I won't cross. And those are the types of readers that I endorse. Like fellow readers that I endorse are the people that have those same kind of policies in place. And it's not a perfect thing. Like you can't ever anticipate anything, but some of us are out here trying to do good things. You know,
I have no doubt about the intention. I have no doubt about that y'all really believe this stuff. I used to believe it too. All that. I'm not trying to discredit you or be mean in any way. I just I think that you're wrong. You know.
Yeah, and
I think there was one thing I wanted to touch base on, and here's where it can be harmful. And Robyn, you and I talked about this before. You had done a reading on someone who you told them their husband was cheating on them, correct?
And let's keep this in mind. This was the first ever reading that I have done for a stranger. So the code of ethics that Ciara's talking about, I basically just received and spit out whatever I got. I don't know if I would make the same decision to express that now. I never really thought about it as harmful because what came through was just what came through. It wasn't so I wasn't thinking like, is this going to hurt the person? I'm just like, this is a message in waiting that is for you. So I don't know if I'd make the same decision now, but yes, my first time reading for a stranger, two strangers in the same room, I did tell her that I And of course, I give my preemptive, I'm new at this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is incorrect. I hope maybe I am in this case. But yes, I did get a message that she was being cheated on by her husband, who was in South Korea specifically, and that her family was going to come rushing back into her life, and she was going to live in southern United States. When that happened, she laughed at me. She's like, I haven't talked to my family for 8 years, and it really sucks, but I hope you're wrong. And I was like, I hope I am too. And then I get an email from my ex-husband, which I will so happily share with you. That's basically, it confirmed everything that I told her.
So going forward, I would you still do that? Because do you see where, let's err on the side and say you're 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're getting a message from the supernatural. Do you really think that's something you should risk sharing with something that could be detrimental to someone's mental health?
I see both sides, and it's a question, because if you think about it as like, okay, let's think about it on the side that the messages I'm getting are 100% accurate, no matter what, they're right. Okay. If you get a message that is that serious for somebody, what would you do? It's really hard to make that decision when it comes through clearly, and that if it's coming from a higher source and you know that it's meant for this person, who am I to not give it to them? But at the same time, I don't want to insert myself into a relationship that's going well and be like, your husband's cheating on you, and ruin a relationship, because that's not what I'm out to do. So it's a battle. And honestly, I don't know how to answer your question because I don't know the answer. It's a difficult line to walk.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, go ahead, Jenna.
I was just going to say, what if it's not coming from something supernatural? What if it's just coming from for example, I've seen Law and Order SVU like 1 million times. What if it's coming from that?
What do you mean?
Like when you say that something feels like that's what you're supposed to say. Like I understand what you mean. Like you just kind of empty your mind and then whatever comes to it. Am I right?
Yeah, and I read cards, so it comes through both. Yeah.
Right. But it just kind of, why would that thought come to me out of nowhere? Right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And I understand that. But the thing is that like I said about the subconscious, and it kind of repeats things. Like that's, for example, for me, like I've seen SVU 1 million times. So if I were to do this, my readings would probably, I mean, I don't know. I haven't done any, so I can't speculate, but, you've learned, you said you've taken some psychology classes, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I teach tarot classes. It's one of the subjects that we cover when I'm teaching people to read is how to recognize the difference between the ego, the subconscious, and actual intuition. It's really difficult.
It is hard.
It's hard, especially if it's somebody coming to you with a question that you can sympathize with rather than empathize with. So if somebody's like, hey, my husband, is he cheating on me? Well, I've been cheated on. So immediately, I have to take a step back from that and say, okay, I want to make sure I'm not projecting my stuff onto that.
That card just came. I was just shuffling the cards while you were talking. And as you were saying it, the trust card came out. And that's exactly what I would have said, is that the only way that you can really learn how to read, to connect with people, to receive messages and then put them out of your mouth, is by trusting,
Yeah.
And it's hard to do when you question it yourself.
Trusting what?
Trusting what you get. So this is the hard part about it, especially coming from a place of, I don't want to be incorrect. I don't want to believe in things that are nonsense. I just want the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing this, you're questioning, one, this sounds like it's not really possible because I haven't really experienced it in other people in my life, except for a few random people here and there. So one, you're not trusting yourself because you don't know if it's possible. And then two, it's about trusting the messages that you get and being able to decipher between if it's you and ego or if it's not. And it's so difficult. It's so difficult.
Have you ever heard of counting the hits and skipping the misses?
I can imagine what that means is you give out 10 pieces of information and you're only counting the ones that you got right and not the ones that you got wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't want to give anything wrong.
No, totally. And I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying that thinking about the methods that you're using with going with kind of your gut. And you saying that you're not 100% positive that it's right every time, right?
Well, I'm always concerned that it's not, because when you get into a state of interpreting like cards and energies and different thoughts and feelings, it's coming through you. Like you're the messenger.
And I am flawed.
Right, exactly. So that's what you think. I'm not perfect.
Right. So what if I'm not interpreting it right? What if it is supernatural when I'm not interpreting it right? And then I say it to this woman and then I fuck up her marriage, you know?
It's a very hard line to walk. And
so why walk it?
Well, when you get really connected, you don't give misinformation. You just worry that you're going to. I can only talk from my experience, but in my experience, I have not yet had a single person come to me. I've probably read cards for like 50 people, maybe 50. It's not a lot. I don't do this for a living, but I have not had a single person ever come to me and say, this is stupid, or this wasn't worth my time, or this was wrong. So you have to get the validation where you get it and trust that it's correct. And then if it's not, and either A, you're not connected and shouldn't be doing what you're doing, or maybe the whole thing is nonsense. And that's what's always going through your head.
Sorry,
is
Robyn,
it possible they don't want to hurt your feelings?
Did you say you've never received I just want to clarify. Did you say you've never received feedback that your reading was wrong or inaccurate? That's not entirely correct. I did tell you from the get-go my reading was not accurate or anything outside of a general statement.
Might not have been outside of a general statement. The one thing that I did want to say that was very specific, I didn't say, and you still don't believe me about that, but that's fine.
So go ahead, say what you say what you were going to say, and I'll address it.
So when we were reading, I didn't say it to you this time, but I had said it to my previous person. I saw you getting a divorce, and I didn't say it because your wifey was putzing around doing laundry in the room and around the house. So I didn't feel comfortable saying it at that time.
But so you didn't say it to me until after.
Still after
it already happened, correct? So
anybody spiritual or not is going to be like, you're making it up, and that's fine. I understand that completely, but I'm just expressing my experience.
I believe that you thought that.
Yeah,
but I don't know if that was at all tied to it. Does that make sense?
What do you mean tied to?
Like, sorry, Ethan, you want to try?
So here, okay, to give an example.
I'm sorry, I don't want to hurt anybody's.
Honey, so I might be really sweet, Jenna, but you can be blunt. I am not that sensitive. Okay. I'm so okay with, we're all seeking truth here.
Yeah.
And whether we are on the atheist side of things or the spiritual side of things, we all just want truth. So it's totally okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So just real quick, and I may not be going the direction Jenna was, so Jenna, feel free to adjust this if I'm not. You've known me for probably 15 years, Robyn?
Yeah.
In your experience, would you consider me somebody who is good at reading people?
Yeah, absolutely. Good at reading body language and all sorts of things.
Right. And how do I explain that?
Psychology.
Right, exactly. Picking up on someone's body language. So why would I think, I guess I think what Jenna's asking is, why would this be coming from something supernatural and not just something I'm reading in the body language? Because before I was aware of what I was doing, I was able to do it. So yes. to give you an example, at a very young age, my teacher had said to my mom, like, all he does is observe people and then he'll play with them after a while. And it's like, I didn't know I was doing that, but I found myself doing that. I am aware of, I can spot danger from quite far away.
Yeah.
But I used to believe that was, okay, I'm getting this from somewhere, someone's telling me this. And it took that for me to learn that I was only picking up on subtle body languages, micro expressions, things like that. So why attach that supernatural part to it?
So from body language, can I be able to pick up from someone that they're going to have a puppy gifted to them by their family and a 3-day cruise off the coast of Florida? Because the other person that I read at the same time of the woman that I told her husband was cheating on her, he was in South Korea, family, whatever. I told her a new life was going to be coming into her life, but it wasn't a man and it wasn't a baby. And I didn't know what that meant, but that's what I got. and that she was going on a 3-day cruise off the coast of Florida. This email that I get from my ex-husband about a year later or so, this woman was, her children bought her a puppy and a 3-day cruise in the Florida Keys. So body language is not going to tell you.
Well, okay, so with that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say, like, you're also making the presumption that when you're doing readings, you're always seeing the person. 90% of the readings that I do or more, I can't see the person. I do phone readings. I do emailed readings. Like, email and Facebook Messenger are primarily how I deliver readings. So any accuracy that I get is absolutely not from body language. You know, I can't say that in the interests of logic and science and everything, I can't say that something hasn't influenced me somewhere, whether it be the way they phrased something or whatever, but, like, it's not all body language.
Right. No, I see it. It's what comes to you. Like that's what I totally get. It's just, so when you talk about a 3-day cruise to Florida, you've now planted a seed in that person's mind.
I see where you're going to go with this. Yeah. So basically, your thought is that if you say something might happen, then in different ways in your life, whether it's through words or actions, you're going to make that end up happening in your life. Unfortunately, there's no way to circumvent that could be the case. It could be the case. I might say you're going to have a new life come into your life, and then this woman is talking to her kids about how she feels lonely and how she needs a friend, and then someone, their kids pick up on it and buy her a dog. So yes, that absolutely could be a part of it. As well as telling someone they're going to get divorced. Is telling them that going to make it happen, because then they're going to go to their partner and be untrusting or something. So it is always a question of if that is a factor or not. But
so
as
can I
you
ask
know,
a question? Sorry.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of doing a reading blind and then not telling them anything, and then
just writing it down and then
and then seeing if it comes true, and then okay, tell me about it. Sorry.
Oh.
Ciaran.
No, that's I can't speak for Robyn, and you were asking her, but like that's an exercise that a lot of new readers do and they're taught to do. Like, and not just on people in their lives, but like on public figures, on current events, things like that. Like, stuff that's very provable to the self, at least. You can't, obviously, like, I can't show you my tarot journals and convince you of anything, because like I could have just made all of that stuff up after the fact. But that is an exercise that's very, very common.
Yeah.
So could I have you do a reading on me and write it down and not tell it to me?
Can we both do that?
Ciaran, and we can, I don't know, maybe mail it in an envelope to me. But
could they have to be as specific as something like a 3-day cruise, right?
Yes.
That kind of thing?
And then,
I'll do that.
Yes. And then you let me know. I'll give you my address off the air, obviously. And you can mail it to me and let me know when I should open it.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, let's do it. I'm down. That's a good challenge.
Cool.
What do you know, Ethan?
Sorry, what was that?
You just want any kind of prediction whatsoever? What do you want to know?
Anything. So I'm open, although the only thing I would recommend is stay away from things about my brother, unless you are 100% certain. If you are 100% certain you have a message from my brother from the dead, I want to hear it. But
I don't do mediumship. I don't connect to dead people. Only living people.
Okay. So yes, we'll do that. Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I hope this works.
I already got your cards, man. I'm ready. Woo!
So do I need to ask a question, or you're
not
just
for me? Maybe Sierra. For me, I don't really ask for a theme. I'm just like, you want a reading? Okay, let's go.
That's how I was.
Actually, could we do the same for Jenna?
Yeah.
Send Jenna a prediction as well.
Yeah, let's do one of you does each of us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So you don't have to do 4 readings.
And I can have you send it both to me, and I can hold it, and then I can get it to Jenna.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ethan, I got yours already. You're covered. Ciara, you want to do Jenna?
Sure. Jenna, I got you, girl.
Okay.
And
Hey. And then
I
6
do-
months or whenever it is from now, you'll be like opening your envelopes. You're going to do a reveal, just like an unboxing of the letter.
We'll have to come back. Yeah.
That would be
thank
fun.
you, SJ. That's very nice of you.
What did he say?
No, SJ. I was just saying thank you. She just shared this video on Twitter, so thank you. I apologize. I tend to do that. I do have a question though, and this is the most important question of them all. What direction should I take sunshine atheist activism?
The sunshine route. All the sunshine.
Ooh. You guys, you should start doing a meditative, like sunning your butt like on the balcony every morning.
Atheism butt sunning yoga.
Did y'all see that video?
I,
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, holy Kool-Aid.
all right, so
Check out the butt tanning.
Jenna, do you have any final questions?
I guess not. No.
Instead of questions, Jenna, I'm really interested because I know that you're very eloquent in the way that you speak, and you're involved in this for a while. So instead of questions, I want more. I would love to hear just some things that moved you away from spirituality and towards atheism, because I find that really interesting. Just like anybody going from Christianity to something else or something else to Christianity, what made your change?
Yeah. I was a Christian, and then somebody had said something to me that kind of clicked things, and they were like, oh, well, as long as you believe that Jesus is the Son of Christ, then you're a Christian. And it was just kind of like, oh wait, do I even believe that? And I was like, I don't know. And I just kind of dropped the Christian and just kind of went, I was like, you know what, I'm spiritual. I know that there's something there. I don't really know what it is. And so I looked up the definition of atheist and the definition of agnostic, and I actually misread the definition of atheist. I read the belief that there's no God. And I was like, okay, well, I can't say that. I know there's something. Who knows what it is, but there's something, right? Went like that for a little while, and then that's how I kind of got into fairies. My best friend got into Reiki. She actually went and did a conference. Like, I wanted to go and do it too, and like all that stuff. There was one thing that we did in a fire pit where you light a fire in
like a sweat foot lodge?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
It was like a big like prayer thing, and you're gonna see how long you could stay. I couldn't stay in there very long. I was a total wimp. But yeah, things like that really intrigued me because I'm a very emotional person, but I hadn't been very in touch with my emotions. Like, I just knew there's something there, right? And so then I started learning about EQ, which I had never heard of before. IQ, EQ, emotional intelligence, and intellectual intelligence. Apparently, EQ changes. IQ doesn't. You're born with it. EQ changes. And so I basically found out that I had an EQ of 0. And so I started learning. I started doing research and watching actually some parenting classes and just kind of learning about emotions. And then I learned about meditation, which is huge and very important to me. I was talking to Ethan right before the show about how I've been doing research about how your wavelengths change. And you get shorter wavelengths, and it's kind of a level of consciousness that's between being conscious and awake and thinking and sleep. It's kind of like that half asleep, dazed kind of thing, where I'd meditate for 15 minutes at work, and then I'd feel like I had a 2-hour nap, and I'm like, hey guys, ready to go, So that kind of thing always intrigued me. But then I started learning, so this is a psychological thing that happens when you allow your mind to still and allow your subconscious to kind of take over. So I learned that it's not magic. And so that's okay to me. It took me a while to accept that. And it could be magic. We did find out that there's stuff called dark matter and dark energy, and who knows what the fuck that is. I want to find out what that is. That's what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to find out what that stuff is. But it's still fascinating. It's just as fascinating to me as anything supernatural. And it's like, I don't know why we have to go with all these old stories that we used to believe when we have so many cool things that we're still learning and discovering. And it's kind of a moving forward than a moving backward kind of thing.
I feel you. And I'm on the same page in the sense of I want science to work. Like every spiritual belief and religious belief generally has the saying. So I'm going to say it anyways, just because it's true. I'm just waiting for science to catch up to proving some of these things that we're talking about, because I feel like I understand like that it is science, but we just haven't quite experienced, and that's only because it went for me from a point of I know there's something out there to I'm telling people about very specific things that I shouldn't know. So it's exciting to hear just your journey. I had a similar journey. I was Christian for 20 years, very, 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 very strongly. And then I became spiritual, looked into Wiccanism and all sorts of things. And now I'm teetering on this line of spirituality and hoping science is going to start supporting it so that people don't look at people like me and be like, they're a crazy psychic, instead of they're just a human that has these skills that everyone else has the ability to tap into. That's my final word.
I don't think you're a crazy psychic. I just think that I've learned that I can be very, very wrong about things that feel very right. Like I felt very strongly that I was not an alcoholic, and then I found out I was. You know, very monumental things that I was very convinced about and found out I was wrong. So that right there made me go, okay, that's huge. That's a big deal. So I'm not gonna say that I know things until they can be scientifically proven.
Yeah, I hear you. You know? I just want to mention that. Oh shoot, I had a really good point.
Sorry.
So, real quick question that I'd like to address is where do you ladies get their knowledge of the future is derived? Is it in the cards or in the spirits?
All connected.
Yeah, the universal unconsciousness.
Mm-hmm. But you know, when we had our chat the other week, we were talking about how we are like the leaves of the tree. It's like an upside down tree, and the roots go into the universe, and so the roots tap into that universal consciousness so that it either expresses itself through straight up psychic, I'm just going to tell you things, and reading cards. These are your cards, by the way, Ethan.
All right, I look forward to finding those out. Anyways, Jenna, did you have any last questions before we close out?
I think Sierra.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sierra. Did you? Thank you, Jenna.
Okay.
No, I don't have any other questions, but it was good being on here again.
Thank you.
No,
yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Ethan, for having me.
Great conversation.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Jenna, one more time, where can everyone check you out at?
www.youtube.com/Jenna Belk is my YouTube channel. Yeah.
And what about Sierra's reading business too?
Oh, Sierra, please.
Oh, if you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and Facebook at East of the Moon Tarot.
And I hear your boyfriend is an atheist. Is that true?
My boyfriend is an atheist. Yeah.
So we're surrounding you, Sierra. I'm gonna slowly wear you down. That's what sunshine atheism is. Slowly. But
I'm already surrounded by it. Most of my friends are atheists. You know,
Sierra's gonna bring you up.
A lot of my other professional reader friends are atheists. I was already surrounded.
I get so confused when I know atheism has nothing to do with tarot cards, but I get genuinely confused when an atheist does tarot cards. Like my brain doesn't compute that.
Well, it's not all connected. It's not all necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not all mutually exclusive. Like the fact that Robyn and I kind of disagree on our belief in psychics. Like we're both card readers, but I don't like the word or the connotations that go with it. And Robyn is over here just fully embracing, you know, like I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to claim that.
Term is very, it's looked at differently by different people. And because of a long history of it being demonized, a lot of people will shy away from the term psychic. I don't like the term. I really believe that it's just a skill that everybody has. So I'm with you. I don't like the term psychic, but if it's out there, I'm going to try to make it better.
Let's go.
All right. Well, everyone, again, Robyn, thank you. Sierra, thank you. Jenna Belk, thank you. Everyone, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm still trying to figure all that stuff out. So everyone have a wonderful evening.